You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network. No matter the time or the season, we're open and available 24/7. Shouldn't your dealership be too? Carumba.com, the convenient online used vehicle marketplace. Register your independent dealership now. You're listening to Sonny's Monday Motivation here on loudmouthradio.com.
Greetings, good people. It's Sonny, and it is a wonderful day for us to have some in-depth conversation because it's another Sonny's Monday Motivation, and I'm so grateful that we're having a moment to talk and come together. And I know you're like, well, Sonny, you're the one doing the talking. I know, but you're doing the listening, so it does still matter. It does still matter. Oh, man. So for those all around the world that may be looking forward to the holidays, there's also a big cluster of people that may not be as happy or as looking forward to the Christmas holidays or the New Year, or just this time of recognition that most people are celebrating with friends, family, significant others, having their time to give appreciation to what the spirit of Christmas has been given and stated and suggested, and whatever else you may be, Kwanzaa, if you have just whatever elements of the spirit that you may partake in. I wanted to, I had to really think about this segment because of wanting it to be definitely a conversation of frankness, but also discerning the fact of the sensitivity of how depression and I want to say the holiday depression can impact people. We have had a numerous amount of things happening in the world. Of course, you can't help but to see things, especially if you're on social media, if you're a news watcher, whatever it is that you might be digesting on a day-to-day basis. You're inevitably going to be exposed to things that are happening, and a lot of times celebrity news becomes a forefront. And interesting enough, I know that many of you probably have a better association of knowing Ellen DeGeneres. Her show, she's just completed her 20-year cycle, has had a wonderful run, has been an incredible mainstay in what they consider daytime television. Our talk shows have really winded down, guys. It's an amazing thing to watch, the transformation of time, of how things that used to be so profoundly exhibited on television, we have now resorted to things like what we're doing right now, listening to a podcast, watching news and TV and different things on our computers and our devices. So news is traveling fast, right? And I said, today I want to talk about overcoming holiday depression because it is a real thing. And if I mentioned Ellen because naturally the news has been definitely centered heavily around Twitch. Stephen Boss, her DJ and dancer, that has been on the Ellen DeGeneres show for a matter of years, and him taking his life. And so suicide and mental illness and all of that conversation has been obliterated since this has occurred naturally. And because it's so close to the holidays, it definitely makes it always even harder. Prayers to his family and friends and those who are fans and people who have known him and those who have had an opportunity to watch him from afar. As humans, we're all interconnected, whether or not we acknowledge it consciously or unconsciously. And there's never a good thing to hear something so tragic taking place. But it goes without saying that, you know, things happen in cycles in life, and we have to recognize, even in such a tragic, you know, moment as Twitch and the fate that he made the decision to take. It leaves us with those who are here still walking and talking and on earth to deal with those emotions and feelings. And it could lead to other quorums of hard pressed feelings, because it is the holidays coming up. And I guarantee you, those who are um, you know, are already battling depression or some type of mental illness or something that is pressing upon their spirit and their mind and their heart, it does not make it easier to hear the situation, because even if you're not dealing with any of that, it's hard to hear someone taking their life, especially somebody who apparently has been such a light for so many people, and, you know, for his family, his children, and it's just tough to hear it. So, you know, I wanted to kind of give some insight about, um, even with, you know, I've had experiences and bouts of having the blues during the holidays, and it's not easy, especially when you're a person that's a giver, or you enjoy, you know, having the company of others. You enjoy just loving on one another, and you know, sometimes changes and shifts of things are happening in your life that makes things different. Like, you know, our weather can make it deter travel plans. Um, you know, you might get sick, you can't travel. You know, your money might not be where it is, you know, normally, and so you can't, you know, travel to your families, or they can't come to you, or you can't participate in certain things. And, you know, so in society has made it a challenge for people to recognize that Christmas is not just about buying and giving people gifts, even though that is a heavy, come on guys, this is the retail of the year time period. Everybody knows that. So there's constantly things that's being put in front of us, and people have desires about, you know, receiving and giving this, and sometimes the pressure of seeing other people giving and buying, and it just becomes a cyclone of emotions. And I think that it's so important that even if you're not having a hardship, if you're not, you know, without family, if you're not um, having some of these challenges, to also still remember that not everyone has the same story. Not everybody has the same walk. So, you know, I think the one thing is to remember to just to be a little kinder. You know, I think the one thing that I like to see is that the spirit of what appears to come around during this time of year, that people are more open to things. And it seems that it's that time of year that people find it a lot easier to maybe speak up about their, you know, their struggles, because they are, you know, are looking at possibly the people around them, or somebody, even a stranger, that may be open to being supportive of whatever that moment is. And I'm not saying that to take advantage of anybody, but it's not unnatural for the time of giving to expound into larger horizons. So you'll see and start to hear more people maybe coming to surface, and you hear their stories, or you may look at a person that's around you that you recognize that maybe there's not a lot of people around them, or they're not really talking a lot about the holidays. They may not have children. They may not have a spouse, or they may have a spouse. They may have children. They may have some type of obstacle that they're dealing with, but they may be silently navigating that. And I know personally how that looks and feels. And you never know, just a kind word, or you know, acknowledging them, telling them Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, you know, just taking the time to listen to somebody, taking the time to call them, or mail them a card, or just little key token things can make a huge difference. And so I just say that for those who are preparing for Christmas, which is coming up so fast, and we're very much at the point of, you know, New Year, so a lot of resolutions and stuff like that are going to start coming to purpose. And it's also the end of the year for businesses, where a lot of times they're doing their best to get and maximize as much as they can, so that they can start preparing for the New Year fees of licenses and insurances, and all of those renewal things are coming up. So guys, I just wanted to encourage you to look at things that can help you to maybe overcome. If you're experiencing holiday depression, first of all, if you can, maybe share with somebody how you feel and talk about it. Let people know that, you may not be feeling your best mentally. You may not be feeling your best physically, and how it may be impacting you. If you're not a person that likes to open up to other people like that, you know what? Try to find a movie, a TV show, or something that maybe can bring some laughter to your life. Pick up a book, or maybe take this time to write out some of the things that you want to have, your desires for, the next 24 months, and, for the next day, for the next week, for the next month. Um, just stop and look at the weather. And then if you're in some areas that may not be the best thing, so I do understand that. In California, we are having some amazing, unseasonable, nice weather. But I know a lot of the other parts of the country are in blizzards, or experiencing cold and snow. And so if you are inside, maybe find something warm that, if it's a hot cup of coffee or some hot chocolate or some tea or something that makes you feel good. Really lean into the things that that are enjoyable for you, whatever they are, and just try to look and see and feel the gratitude of that moment. And sometimes you can only go moment to moment, and that's okay too. So I said I wasn't going to make this a long, hardcore press conversation about depression, because it is a real thing, and you live long enough, you're going to experience enough. So I just want to encourage you to try to lean as too much you can that gives you gratitude. And if you woke up today and you're able to hear this, I hope that anything that I've said can make a little bit of a difference, and maybe give you a little bit of a moment of opportunity to not think about the things that are not meeting the equation. Tony Robbins, I'm going to say this and wrap this up, but Tony Robbins, world-renowned motivational speaker, business guru, talked about the root of unhappiness. And I remember stumbling across this conversation that he was giving a piece of one of his speaking engagements. And he said, the cause of unhappiness, or the root of it, the truth of it, is that most people, they're experiencing unhappiness is somewhere, maybe a point in your life where it's finances, it could be your health, it could be money, it could be a job, it could be a relationship, it could just be anything that is leaving you to feel unhappy. The root of that most likely comes from the fact that in your mind, you expected this particular area of whatever it is to be a better situation. Maybe your money's better, maybe you was expecting to be in a better job, maybe you were looking to have a house, or whatever it is that you're finding a lack of. Well, that emotion in between the lack of and what your expectation is where the unhappiness roots. So when I heard that, I was like, man, that is totally true. And it took off the edge of recognizing how just being able to see that is what is causing this, the actual emotion of the unhappiness. And of course, there could be a lot more things that fall behind that. But just to acknowledge the fact that, hey, my expectation of myself or this situation was this, and it's not that. You have already identified the root. So knowing what the root is of a problem definitely helps to put you in a position to start overcoming that problem, because you got to work on the root, right? It's just like a plant. If you want it to grow, you got to nurture the root. You got to water it. You got to fertilize it. You got to plant it, and you got to, give it its preparatory space to get it to go. So, I say that moment of me hearing that, it gave me a much lighter load and a much lighter process of thought in regards to almost anything. Does not mean that I don't feel it for that moment. Doesn't mean that I don't recognize that maybe this sucks or it doesn't feel good, or, don't deny yourself the emotion, okay? I'm not going to sit up here and tell you to become this robot that does not recognize the emotion behind something, or something that you feel that's not adding up to what you desire. It is okay to know that this is not what you wanted it to be or cracked up to be. The question is, what are you going to do about it? See, if we can just take the action to turn the corner away from whatever it is. And I'm not saying that it's always something that you have the only ability to change. It could be another person that you don't have control over. It could be a situation that you don't have a control over. But what can you do in your part of your position right now to make it better for you? Right? So I just want to encourage you to, whatever it is that may be in a challenge or in a space of not the best feeling, to just try to work through it and know that it's okay and know that you can be okay to feel whatever you feel. Just try not to stay there if you can. And sometimes it's moment to moment. Trust me, I know it is not always, oh, Sonny, you always smiling, you always this, and guys, look at Twitch. He was always smiling. He was dancing. He was celebrating his family. He was celebrating his life. I think about, the fact that something that's been a mainstay in his life significantly changed. The show with Ellen changed. I'm not saying that that's the root of what caused this situation. There's a lot of speculation, and I'm not looking to get an answer about it, really. I just know that sometimes that there's life changes and things and relationships and jobs and just all kinds of things that can make a detrimental movement in your life. And I know that can be hard. And what I've come to recognize, and I'm still growing in this space as I speak to you now, is that you just have to find your footing. Just always try to find your footing. I'm actually a Libra, so I'm always about balancing. So if you've ever had, if you've ever been on a ride and like a Ferris wheel, a merry-go-round, a roller coaster, and you were spinning for X amount of time and you get off and the first thing you do is try to stand and walk away from it, I promise you feel like the earth is moving below your feet. And a lot of times, a lot of things that's going on in our lives feels like that. Trust me, I know it's not cool. But I just want to encourage you to, even in the imbalance, even in the jarring of your legs or the jarring of your heart or the jarring of your mind, know that you are loved and you're light and that God has purposely put you here for whatever magnitude that you're here to be and do. And that I pray that you fulfill your desires and you fulfill your journey, because it's what you make it. The God in you is with you at all times. So I just want you to know that that the world is smiling on you wherever you are, even in the darkest moments. There's opportunity to bring light, and that light naturally comes from the center of your heart. If you can just remember to center yourself, and to sometimes you got to get quiet to even do that, and remember that you're able, you're capable, and you're more than worthy. So, guys, I hope that you have a wonderful holiday, and I look forward to talking to you the day after Christmas. And I hope that you are blessed and highly favored.
$30.7 million small businesses in the U.S., creating 1.5 million jobs annually. Small business accounts for 64% of new job creation in the U.S. There's strength in numbers. No matter what we face, know that there's strength in us. Because of you, we're able, we're capable, we're resilient, and we are available, because we are small business, and together, we're the economy. You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network.